My name is Victor. I am the occult technician, and this is Mind War. Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. Join the Mind War today. Enlist at patreon.com/mindwar. Now, back to the show. Welcome back to Mind War, folks. I appreciate you being here. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. Folks, we're going to pick up where we left off in the book Magic, History, Theory, Practice by Dr. Ernst Schertl. We left off on page 80. It says this: in the consequence of the energetic origin of the God perception and of the demonic in general, it participates in the two basic characteristics or potentialities of existence of everything energetic, namely in motion and rest, or in actuality and potentiality, or in the Auerbach sense in ectropism and entropism. This double-sidedness of the energetic manifests itself in the demonic reality in terms of the polarity of the satanic and seraphic. I think that's the first time we've heard the word satanic mentioned in this book, and it is written in quotes. The satanic means kinetic, actuality, ectropism, or free energetic valence. Again, we hear the word satanic all the time. Oh, the music awards last night, they were satanic. They did a satanic ritual. All these people who are occultists, they're satanic, right? We hear the satanic thrown around all the time. Let's hear again what the author here says satanic really means, and it says this: the satanic means kinetic, actuality, ectropism, or the free energetic valence, where the seraphic, on the other hand, is latency, potentiality, entropism, or bound energetic valence. Okay, so what does that mean? So often we hear of Satan as the adversary, right? Some of the times, and this is what I think this means for people, right? So often the profane among us, right? The most retarded people, the people with the least education and the least ability, they have very powerful imaginations just like the rest of us. And they imagine what life should be for them. But then they bump up into reality and realize, oh shit, I can't have this fake reality that I want. That is Satan standing in front of them as their adversary, not allowing them to have what they want. Right? They blame it on Satan. But again, when you look at what they want, you say, that's unrealistic, you're stupid. You can't have that. That's not reality. That's not how this fucking reality works. And I'm telling you, man, growing up as a young man and as you move into your 20s and stuff, you start to realize that the world is not what you thought it was. A lot of the illusion starts to dissipate. Like I talked about in the last episode with the illusion of magic when you walk into Disneyland or Disney World. If you are just some fucking retard who believes all of it, I'm going to fucking walk around with Mickey Mouse ears on, believing all of this is so fun and cool. But the magician walks in and sees the illusion, and it just becomes his reality of, oh, wow, this is a lot of work to make this fucking place run, right? So again, people who have very little abilities imagine life should be just perfect for them at all times, even though they don't want to put in any work. And then when their life isn't perfect, they blame it on Satan. That's what satanic is to them. It's the kinetic actuality of life. And it's too difficult for most people to handle. That's why they continuously live in a state of victimhood, blaming Satan for their troubles. When instead, if they would just take a look at reality, understand that everything takes a shit ton of work to make anything happen, and maybe show a little bit of appreciation for the people who work so fucking hard to make their illusionary life work the way that it does, maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't have to live in a world full of hordes of profane. They're exhausting. I'm sick of them. They're the ones who are out there pulling out pocket knives on the train and stabbing beautiful young women to death. They are the ones who are telling their children who end up becoming trans shooters that they should be trans, and not helping their children realize the truth of who they really are. Those are the Satans out there, not reality. Reality is beautiful. Again, the magician gets his power from seeing through the illusion and seeing the reality that we live in. Now again, the seraphic, on the other hand, is latency, potentiality, entropism, or the bound energetic valence. So the seraphic, because the magician uses satanic and seraphic equally. Again, the satanic side is we realize the reality of life, the reality of physics and all the hard work and how the banking system works and how the military works and the organizations, corporations, and institutions, and you start to realize how it all works, right? That's satanic, because now you're coming up against something concrete that doesn't allow you to live in your illusion anymore. But the seraphic is, again, within the magician, the ability to see the change. It's our ability to see past the satanic reality that we live in. Because again, remember, much of the reality that we are forced to live in is satanic, because it's a structure that isn't real. We're forced to live in an illusionary structure. Laws, culture, society, these are all illusions to our reality. But we're forced into it that way. We have to see past the illusion. We have to see that the structures are satanic around us. But we also have to be seraphic in our thinking and have the ability to see something new, a new culture, a new society, a new way of living, a new spiritual practice. Since all actuality drifts towards potentiality, so also does the satanic strive towards the seraphic. As soon as the state of latency, the entropy is reached, somewhere a new center of kinetic energy has to break open. In order that with its ectropic effectiveness, the final entropization of the whole cosmos is again postponed for a while. It's just like those cultural waves that we go through. I believe that we are at the beginning of a cultural shift, a major shift. Is it into the golden era that we've been promised? Are we moving towards the new world order that we have been promised? I hope so. I hope that's where we are moving. I hope all the promises of the best magicians of our time come true, right? This sort of life of a life of lounge living, right? Where we have our needs taken care of, and we are also able to find outlets to express ourselves that are so totally different than the way it's been, through violence and suffering and all the things that have gone on, right, for a millennium. We can move past all that and leave all of that behind. But one of the big blockades to that is the illusion that people are still living in. If we can't move past the illusion, if we can't move past the lie, then it's so difficult as a group, humans as a group, to move past it and move into something new. That's why it breaks my fucking heart when I see new generations follow the old conspiracies, follow the old religions. God, it fucking hurts, man. Some of my favorite people are out there talking about the same conspiracies. They're out there following the same religions, becoming ortho bros or whatever. Fuck, man, it breaks my fucking heart. Please, guys, please. Don't fall back into those traps, those illusions. Please, wake up. Let's see. As soon as the state of latency, the entropy is reached. So, okay, we already went through that. Next paragraph. Again, folks, the book that we are working from, Magic History Theory Practice by Dr. Ernst Schertl, supposedly was one of Adolf Hitler's favorite books. A historian went through Hitler's library and found that his copy of this book was very worn out, had all sorts of highlights in the edges there. And this next paragraph was highlighted by Adolf Hitler, and it says this: Satan is the creative, value setting, and value increasing principle, which at first always appears evil. Let's say that again. Satan is the creative, value setting, and value increasing principle, which at first always appears evil. As we move into this golden era, as our culture here in the West begins to change, those of us who have been pushing the change, those of us who are creative, those of us who have been value setting, coming up with new values that our culture and society will believe in, and value increasing. We are increasing everything in life in the West right now. When people like us start this change into our culture, into this new golden era, we always appear as evil. If that is not exactly what the fuck is happening right now in America, I don't know what is. But the people who are trying to make positive change in this country right now, through things like closing the border, through things like bringing in the National Guard to bring order to these violent cities, we are the ones that appear as evil. Because the fucking morons out there, the profane idiots who fall for the lies of their truly demonic leaders, those profane people, they can't handle the change. And all I wish for all of them is to experience the world that they actually are creating. The sad part is so many of them live in these soft little areas. They don't even go out enough to experience the violence that they push and perpetrate on all the rest of us. Serapha, on the other hand, is the resting, preserving, values affecting pole, which we call good. Satan is the fertilizing, destroying, constructing warrior. Seraph is possession and peace. Again, Satan is the fertilizing, destroying, constructing warrior. It's what we are doing in the West right now. It is what we are doing in America right now. We are fertilizing the land with new ideas, with a new culture, and we are going to watch it grow. We are destroying / constructing the new era, the golden era that we are coming into. And we are called a destroying / constructing warrior, because we are fucking warriors out here. Whether you are a mind warrior, citizen samurai, guerrilla guru out here fighting the mind war, which is more of an information-based war, or whether you are one of the men and women who put on the uniform of ICE or Border Patrol, the National Guard, your local police, whatever it is, you are the satanic, destroying, constructing warrior. And we thank you all for that. Because as being a satanic, destroying, constructing warrior, you are being the Satan of bad people. Those pathetic losers who are just, they are out constantly being gaslighting. They do everything that they can to be contrarians. They say the opposite just to piss you off, even though they don't believe in it. They say the opposite of whatever is right because they know it's in their being to be contrary, to be the contrarian. They are the Satan to all of us normal people who just want basic life. We want things to just be normal. We want to follow simple rules. Not fake laws. And again, not the laws that tell us you can't secure the border. That's like saying you can lock your front door on your home, but you have to leave the garage door open and anybody can come in. That's fucking crazy. If that was the law in your town, if the law in your town said you are only allowed to lock your front door, but you have to leave the garage door open, and whoever wants to come into your home can through the garage door, you would leave that town because it's insane. The people who create those type of laws, those are our Satan. Everyone has a different Satan depending on what side you're on. So to all of those morons out there who are creating this dangerous world that we live in today, those of us who are standing up against it, we are their Satan. Do you understand? Satan is different for everyone. And again, he is just the representation of whatever is standing in your way. And if you are a good guy, then the Satan that is standing in front of you is the bad guy. If you are the bad guy, then the Satan standing in front of you is the good guy. Again, it's all about perception. The problem here, though, is this. If you're the bad guy, if you really are that contrarian, if you're really that gaslighter out there, you know that you're lying. You might try to convince yourself and convince others that you're not lying, but you know you're lying. That's why you're the bad guy. Do you guys get it? There is a truth. There is only one truth, one reality to everything. And those who get the most power in our world today understand that the best way for them to gain power is to lie against that truth, is to push against the truth, is to get others to think that the truth is a lie and vice versa. And they are the truly satanic in our life. But it's time for us to be the Satan of their lives. Seraph is a possession and peace. So once we are done being the Satan of our enemies, we can then be the seraph of our people. We can possess them. We can possess a town that is full of peace and prosperity. That's what we're working towards, man, that golden era. Satan and Seraph are therefore not opposites. Oh no, folks. We've talked about this so many times. There is no opposite. There is no duality. There is no black and white. It's all just the pendulum. Black and white are the same thing. They're both colors. Satan and Seraph are the same thing. It's just about directing energy. Once you have stood up to the Satan in your life, once you've closed the border, once you've stopped the crime, now you don't have to be Satan anymore because you've already secured your town. And now we can rest in Seraph. Satan and Seraph are therefore not opposites. Which one could tear apart? But they are pole notions. Positive, negative, which are only thinkable in each other and with each other. That is the duality that we have to live. There are times when you are going to have to be Satan, and there are times when you are going to have to be Seraph. Next paragraph. The demonic is like everything energetic and therefore in its root satanic, but drifts over the course of its activity towards the construction of a seraphic, self-contained, and resting world. Isn't that why we work so hard? So we can enjoy our rest in peace? The separation of white from black magic is therefore nonsense and mere pretense. Let me say that again. I can't wait to clip these videos, folks. Man, we are going to have so many clips. It's going to be beautiful. The demonic is like everything energetic and therefore in its root satanic, but drifts over the course of its activity towards the construction of a seraphic, self-contained and resting world. The separation of white from black magic is therefore nonsense and mere pretense. There is no difference between white and black magic. They're both just magic. One is for healing, one is for destroying, in a way. People look at black magic and think it's evil because it destroys things. But what is it destroying? It's destroying your old self. It's destroying your old way of thinking. It's destroying the cultural, societal, and religious wet blankets that have been forced upon you. It is destroying the organizations, corporations, and institutions that have polluted our minds, poisoned our bodies, and corrupted our souls. Now, do I mean going in there and firebombing a building and killing the people that work there? No. We drain them of their energy by ignoring them and not participating anymore. Are you tired of the food industry feeding you unhealthy foods? Stop eating the unhealthy foods, and soon that industry will disappear. It's that simple. Through the destruction of the unhealthy food industry, aka black magic, we heal ourselves and become healthier through white magic. Because here, white means only as much as permitted and black means forbidden. That's right. Do you know why black magic is forbidden? Because of its power. They don't want you to know the power of black magic. It is why creating podcasts like the Mind War podcast are frowned upon, and I don't want to be one of these guys that say, oh, I'm ghosted or whatever it's called, where they don't put my, they don't promote my podcast and my videos and my art and all that stuff. I get it, right? This information isn't supposed to be heard. They don't want you to know the power of black magic. That's why it is occult. That's why it is hidden. That's why it is forbidden. This is completely relative and depends only on the presently dominant and hence justified and right recognized basic synthesis. This distinction becomes even more unsubstantial if it is applied to the social morale area, and black magic is defined as egotistic and white as social or altruistic. Often you can associate black magic again with those 7 deadly sins. If you are a greedy person, then you are going to focus on the demon of greed. You are going to build an idol of him, and he is going to be on your desk. You are going to focus all of your rituals into the demonic idol of greed in order to make more money, in order for your business to be extremely profitable. If greed is what you want, and you can use black magic in that way if you want it. Here in the Mind War, the hope is that you are using white magic and black magic both for positive ends, not something that's going to damage others or damage yourself ultimately. Because again, the 7 deadly sins, right? They're going to destroy you. So be careful with them. Let's see. Because it is not currently acceptable to debate why the advantages of an arbitrary multiplicity should be valued higher morally than the advantage of individuals. So we are unable to debate the advantages of an arbitrary multiplicity. Again, kind of a universalism, an abstractionism. Nietzsche already debated this sufficiently, and Felix Orbach also screened this problem from an energetic point of view. And Orbach says this, again, another paragraph highlighted by Adolf Hitler. It says this: concerning ethics, the juxtaposition, egoism and altruism are banal and not crucial for the main point. Only the antithesis is crucial: ectropism and entropism. Egoism can be good and altruism can be bad. Service makes great, but dominance makes greater. Interesting. Egoism can be good. If what you are doing in your work, whatever work it is that you're doing, plays a positive, vital role in other people's lives, if you are helping other people heal their mind, body, and spirit through a character like Victor the Occult Technician, who is this over-the-top character full of ego in his own way. The ego had to be used to create the character. That can be good. as well as altruism can be bad. We know so many examples of the philanthropic monsters out there who say that their efforts, the work that they do is altruistic because they're trying to help others, when we know it's a lie and all they're trying to do is help themselves. We know that. We see them everywhere. They're all over the news constantly. The liars. What is allowed depends not only on the what, but also on the who. Man. What is allowed depends not only on the what, but also on the who. If that doesn't perfectly describe the multi-tiered, judicial system that we live in today, where we see the elites of the world getting away with every fucking crime imaginable. They get away with it scot-free every fucking time. They often commit crimes and then are promoted for the crimes that they committed. We see it happen over and over and over again. And then the normies, those of us at the bottom, nope, you're in trouble. Right to jail for doing the same thing at a minuscule level compared to what the elites do. Because what is allowed depends not only on the what, but also on the who. Allowed is finally what pleases the cosmos, even more than allowed wished for. The ectropic efficiency and net effect of an ingenious lifestyle and life work would be lowered more by common mob ethics than the cosmic police would likely allow. Quod non licet bovi tamen licet jovi. I don't know what that means. The ectropic efficiency and net effect of the ingenious lifestyle and life work would be lowered more by common mob ethics than the cosmic police would likely allow. Number one, I love the idea that there are cosmic police out there, spirits out there in the universe, in our world, that allow individuals like ourselves who live an ingenious lifestyle and life work, that we are allowed to continue our work without being destroyed by mob ethics, common mob ethics, aka the profane. It's why, like I talked about in the last episode, it's kind of nice that the Mind War podcast only has a few listeners right now. It allows me to continue my work unimpeded. Now, when it comes to viewers, I know it's summertime, folks, but we've had a real drop-off. Okay, we had maybe 12 to 20 viewers per episode, and we're down to about 5 or 6. I don't know what pissed people off. I don't know what drove people away. Hopefully it's just summertime. Everybody's out, doing their thing. Maybe they're going to come back, rewatch some of those old episodes. But it is a little disheartening that some of my Mind Warriors, Citizen Samurais, Guerrilla Gurus, and Warrior Monks, some of the 12 disciples there, some of you may have fallen off. I hope you find your way back. So let's go on to the next paragraph, the final paragraph on page 81. It says, the only law, let's start this again because this is an important sentence here. The only law the magician is subordinated to is the will of his god or demons. That is to say, the ectropic effect resulting from the cosmic forces which are compressed in him. So fucking beautiful, man. Such a perfect way to describe what we do. In the fact that we strip away everything through our work, the societal, cultural, and religious wet blankets that have been forced upon us, we free ourselves from all of those, find out who we truly are, the cosmic dynamic force that truly lies within us, and then we move forward with it. And that is the only law that the magician is required to follow. That is the will of his God or demon that's within him. That's the only law. Start living that way, man. Start living that way. A perfect example of this is some of the things that I've done in my art over the last couple of years, right? Things like magic mushrooms, currently still a Schedule 1 drug as far as the federal government is concerned. I had to move past the fear of that law, that bullshit fake law that, again, I believe the current administration is looking to repeal. From what I understand, RFK Jr., right, the head of our kind of health department, he's talking about maybe allowing magic mushrooms to be part of, of therapy, right? We can use them for therapeutic reasons. And I understand, if I understand this correctly, the administration may be looking into lowering marijuana and psilocybin on that level of drugs, moving them below fentanyl and heroin and meth and all the other things that they're currently above right now. That is so crazy that two plant-based structures given to us by the earth, by the universe, are said to be more dangerous than the disgusting chemical compounds that we see destroying our fellow citizens every day. Never once have I seen somebody, take a bunch of mushrooms and become just a disgusting, skeletal freak of themselves. That's not what happens. Normally, when people take mushrooms, like you've seen here through my progression, they become more full of life. They become who they truly were meant to be. Marijuana, on the other hand, you got to be careful, folks. I've become a real fucking stoner at times in my life, and I've really become burned out on marijuana at times. You have to take a break. I took a break a few weeks ago. Okay, I took about 2, almost 3 weeks. I didn't smoke any weed. The results were not kind of what I had hoped. I was thinking, maybe I'll think clearer or whatever. None of that really happened. Mostly what came back was my sense of smell got a little heightened. But to be honest, when I quit smoking weed, I found myself to be much more lethargic. I spent a lot of time in bed, doom scrolling and shit like that. I had no motivation, anything. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, I finally said, I'm fucking done with this not smoking weed shit. Went to the local dispensary, got a couple ounces of some great indica. That very day, I smoked a little bit of weed. Fuck, man, I cleaned both the cars. I cleaned the house. I started on all of the chores that I had been ignoring for 2 weeks, thinking, man, maybe if I just quit smoking weed, I'll be more energetic or whatever. Complete opposite. But again, be very careful with marijuana. It can quickly lead you into a burnout stoner scenario. So the magician is always black and white. In one, just like the passage of the Kabbalah presented God, as was already cited in the historical part. I've often said, I don't know the Kabbalah. I never really studied any of it. But I have a feeling that some of the work that we do here in the Mind War podcast, the way that I have practiced chaos magic, I think there's probably some parts in it that would have originated in the Kabbalah or maybe are adjacent to it. I don't know. But again, so the magician is always black and white in one. So you are a duality. We all are duality in our living. Just like the passage of the Kabbalah presented God, as we already cited in the historical part. I mean, if you look back at the Bible, God is everything that a human would normally be. Loving, caring, kind, empathetic. While at the same time, vengeful, rage-filled, filled with hate against his enemies, right? God, the God that's described in the Bible or whatever has the same characteristics as any man. We love our family, we love our friends, we love the people who love us back, and we hate our enemies. We hate the people that come against us, and we want revenge. We want to destroy them. We want to destroy every single one of them and their livestock and burn their houses, turn it all into ash, and then salt the land, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's human nature. God didn't create us. We created God. We gave him the same characteristics that man has every day. It's that simple. Around this one basic law are layered several regulations and rules to which the magician subjects himself to, in order to organize more intimate communion with the demon and saturate himself with ever new paracosmic forces. So again, even as the magician, we do have to follow some rules, and often the rules that we have to follow as a magician means that we are breaking the rules of society, culture, and religion. Okay? That's a tough realization to come up to, but sometimes you have to move past the fear and put yourself in precarious situations like I've done here. I put myself on the fucking line every day coming down here, doing the work that I've done through magic and explaining and sharing with all you the things that we're learning. The organizations, corporations, and institutions that run our world do not like this information being let out. But whether he wants to put in this way, gained power into the commission of a multiplicity or use it for his own ends is completely left to his discretion. I have used, excuse me, I have used so much of the magical practice that I've done in order to make positive changes in my own life. I've used it selfishly. On the other hand, on the other side of this duality that I live in, I also have used magic to then come and create this podcast in order to share with you all what I've learned. I made a conscious decision to do both. I could have easily kept all of this information to myself, not put myself out in the crosshairs. Could have easily kept it all occult, all hidden away, and just used it for my own selfish means. Robert Monroe told us that. He said that at any given time, he thinks there's about 6,000 people on the planet out of 8 billion who have the same type of abilities that we do. And that so many of them use their abilities to create a perfect little life for themselves, and then they just live out their life. And that's okay if that's what you want to do. It's beautiful. I love it. It's selfish in its way, but it's perfect. Do it. But there's others like myself who consciously take this information and express it outwardly, despite the detriment that it has to our being. The people, the Volk, the folk. He might gather around himself, have nothing to do with an abstract multiplicity whose good he would have to serve, but represent an enlargement of his eye sphere. Again, the people that gather around the magician have nothing to do with an abstract multiplicity, aka the hordes of the profane who believe in Christianity, let's say. Okay? The magician who moves into the position as the head of a church, of Christian church, he is now putting himself into a position where he has certain laws and rules to follow. But when he does that, he knows that he's going to gain the power over the flock of profane retards and morons. wants, okay? But he knows that he's going to have to sacrifice his individuality and become part of this structure in order to gain power. If all you're after is power, then fucking go for it, man. You're a fucking loser if that's what you do, and especially if you're going to exploit a bunch of retards through Christianity or Judaism or Islam, whatever, man. Do your thing. It's pathetic. You suck for it, but I get it. You are giving into the worst natures of your demonic spirits, whatever that demonic spirit within you that needs to feed your ego the power of controlling a bunch of tards. Okay? Fuck you, man. Sorry. The people that we gather around us as magicians have nothing to do with the multiplicity, the hordes of profane, whose good we would have to serve. Again, just like I said, the preacher, the pastor, the rabbi, the imam, they force themselves to serve a system that's already been created, whether they believe it or not, but they do it in order to have power over the profane. But as magicians, the people that we gather around us, our folk, our people, they are an enlargement of our eye sphere, like Robert Monroe called the eye center, just like Dr. Ernst Schertl called the eye center. Do you understand that these men are all teaching the same thing? As magicians, we are not looking for hordes of profane that we can just manipulate. That's not it. That's for the morons. They can do that. They will always and forever be our Satan, our enemy. They are always and forever going to be the purpose and the reason we fight so hard. But it already has happened that a magician abandoned, shattered, or castigated his own people if they did not seem reactive enough anymore. Christ, in his historical example for this, who originally came to the Jews, but then went to the heathens. Also Moses, as incarnated Yahweh, often castigated his people as he was uplifting them. As the magician, you are going to have to play the Satan of your folk, because many of the folk who are coming to you are coming out of a world of illusion. And you are going to be the person who breaks that illusion for them. And they're going to hate you for it at first. The same way that when people out there who help others break their addictions to drugs and alcohol, they hate you for it in the beginning. But once they make it through the first day, the first 2 weeks, those hell weeks, right? The first 90 days, the first year, they're going to turn around. They're going to come around and understand that you were there to help them. Whether the you was another person, or in my case, it was me helping myself. Again, so many times I've showed you in my art, in my pictures, Victor, the occult technician, he was the one that was helping Dan, the normal guy that I am. The guy that I am when I turn the cameras off. He helped Dan through his issues. Victor was my guide. He was my teacher. He was my counselor. It was all just me. But it was still a way to kind of step outside of myself and say, I need to gather some information. I need some help. I didn't want to look outward for help, because often those people who you turn to for help are just going to put you into the next illusion. It's the reason I never went to the VA and said, oh, I feel depressed or whatever, because I hear the horror stories. Take these pills, come to therapy, blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, the worst happens, right? It's not what we do here in the Mind War, man. We are magicians. This stuff that we've talked about today and in the last few episodes, this is beautiful, thought-provoking, important information. It's going to change you. It's already changed me. And ultimately, it's going to change our culture as we move into what should be a new golden era. And folks, we are going to continue on with my magical journey over on Instagram at The Occult Technician when we return in just a moment. All right, welcome back, folks. We are going to continue on with my magical journey over on Instagram at The Occult Technician. You're going to scroll all the way down to a post from May 31st, 2023. This is a post I put out when I got 900 followers. So this was pretty awesome post. I really like this one. Again, this is me multiplying myself. We see Officer Vic, one on each side, kind of... we have the black long sleeve hoodie. We got the gray long sleeve hoodie on the other side. I love when you look at the picture, the triangle flag that I have here. It's on my hat, and right above it, there's one single star on each one. It took so much work to actually maneuver myself into the right place, look at the camera in the right position, move my head slightly, move my arm slightly, tell the camera to take a picture of me. I would have to walk back and forth multiple times to make sure it looked right. These pictures took hours to create. I know that sounds silly. You might look at it and say, well, it's not even that impressive. It's just a weird picture with a couple of you in it. It took hours to create this. It was so much fun to do. And I hope that throughout your art projects or whatever you're working on, I hope you find fun in it too. And take the time, like we're doing here, to go back and reminisce through this. Literally last night, I pulled the Seven of Rings. The Seven of Rings tarot cards talks about reviewing all the hard work that you've done, showing appreciation for all the hard work you've already put in. Exactly what we're doing right here today. This is how the cards work. They are a reflection on the night of the full moon of what you're doing in your life, or maybe a guide of what you should be doing. When I read that, I sat back and I said, holy shit, I've worked so hard over the last few weeks cleaning up the Mind War Manor. I look back at art like this. I think about how long it took to make these pictures. This is what it means. This is how the magic works. This is how it has personal meaning in your own life. Again, I love this picture. You have Uncle Vic there in the green hoodie. Again, all of those hoodies and the hats you can find over at my Etsy shop, Victory Work Apparel. There are links. You just follow the QR code on this video. Go to my Instagram. There's links to it there. It's up and running right now. Some of the items that you see throughout my art are no longer available. I've kind of freshened things up, made them a little more patriotic, right? Again, you see in the apprentice side there, I'm starting to stand up a little more straight, starting to understand a little bit more of what I'm doing. And that Victor you see in the black hoodie there with the gray, the beanie on and the silver glasses, that's more of the Victor you're seeing here today in front of you, the one who's out here doing the work, right? Exactly what I just talked about. You have to have multiple versions of yourself, okay? Because they're all going to be doing different things. And when you do that, be kind to each different version of yourself. Because guess what? The Victor you're seeing here today, I'm the host of the Mind War podcast. I'm this magician. I want to be Generation X's most exalted occultist, all of these type of things. I also have to go outside and pick up dog shit, okay? I also have to take the trash out to the curb every day. Again, just like I talked about in the other episode with the great occultist Damien Eccles saying, if you can't find God washing the dishes, you're not going to find him in the temple, okay? Be patient with each version of yourself and appreciate each one. The one that you're seeing here with the costume, being Victor, all this stuff is no different than the Dan who's out there picking up dog shit. It's all the same guy, okay? But we play different roles in our own lives. So that was a great picture. That was a lot of fun to make. Again, thank you for the 900 followers. It's crazy, you know, the follower count has not gone up a whole lot over on Instagram, despite even, a month ago when I had 17,000 page views. People were hate watching my page. Ain't nobody was following it because I was trolling the shit out of people, and it was getting a lot of attention, but maybe not like positive attention where I was getting new followers. I got a few. Our next post, June 2nd, 2023. Again, I wish I could play this music for you. It is a dubstep version of Jefferson Airplane's song. Basically, what I'm trying to display in this post here, again, I'm standing behind the podium, and we are talking about, it's not always about love. This is what I was trying to say here in this post. It's not about love. Sometimes the truth that you need to hear, the path that you need to follow, is one of hate. It's okay to hate. It is equally as important as love. You have to hate the things that come against you, that maybe present danger in your lives to you and the people that you love. It's okay to hate things. Hate those things. Revel in your hatred for them. Take pride in it. Do all of those things that you say, we're told that we're not supposed to, that they are sins. Don't let them destroy you, but absolutely stand up with hatred against those gaslighters in your life, against those people who constantly have to be contrarians just to get under your skin. You can hate them for who they are and what they do. It's okay. It's okay to love your hatred. Next post. This was from June 3rd, 2023. This is a Pride Month post. We were in Pride Month at this time. Again, one of the art pieces that I made was just like the triangle you see here in front of me, but it used the rainbow colors. I've talked about this before. It wasn't necessarily built as a pride type, symbol. I'm not a member of the pride community in the way that it's talked about here, but I thought, hey, if I can sell a couple of t-shirts to some people who are on the pride side, cool, man, no big deal. I also wanted to show that it wasn't about cutting anybody off, because that's not what it is. Again, one of the things that we do here in the Mind War podcast, we're trying to break that illusion that people find themselves in. And you can't do that when you build up too many walls around you and keep people out. You also have to make sure that there's an entry point, okay? And this was my way of reaching out, right? Now, we're going to get into some fucking serious shit right now, folks. I've been waiting for this post to come up. I looked for it multiple times. I was like, when is it coming? Today's the day. And this is a good one. So in a past episode, we talked about evocation, okay? And the demon that we were working with at the time, he showed himself in my art, right? The picture that I took that night where I saw evocation of a demonic entity for the first time, again, was an example of, through the practice of demonolatry, kind of bringing the face of these demons into my art. I've taught you already multiple ways to do this. Evocation was one of them. Now, we're going to talk about invocation, aka demonic possession. And yes, folks, I was possessed by a demon, and we're going to show you right here from the post, June 4th, 2023. The first picture that you see Took me quite a while to get this picture, to get the angle correctly where you could actually see my hand holding the tarot card in the black mirror. I think it's a very cool picture. Again, we're looking at the black mirror. We see a reflection of my hand holding a tarot card. Now, the tarot card was the Four of Rings, and on it was kind of the opposite of the picture we just saw, because on this tarot card you have a white circle which represented the full moon, and you have these four black hands kind of being a silhouette over the moon, whereas the picture in what you just saw was a reflection of my white hand on the black mirror. Again, this cool kind of duality, this kind of cool reflection of the reality of the card I pulled. That's what I meant in this art, in this particular picture. So we go through the night. Again, we pull the Four of Rings. I show a few pictures of the different stages that I go through. And again, all of these pictures that I'm taking that you see on my Instagram when I'm doing these rituals, I am deep in the state of somnambulance. I am high as fuck on mushrooms right now. If that's the way you want to put it, right? I don't like to necessarily say it that way. I like to think of it more as our sacred medicine. It's more than just taking drugs. Okay, this is the Eucharist for us. The mushrooms is the bread, right? But when I take these pictures, again, it's some of the reasons that these pictures can be difficult for me to take is because the mushrooms kind of affect your motor skills and things like that. So the next picture, number 6 there, was just, again, showing duality. One room was red, the other room was blue. There's a beautiful picture of Leo, my best friend, the Boston Terrier, in picture number 7. Now, picture number 8. You're seeing it on your screen right now. This picture of me, you seeing me standing there in the living room. It looks like I'm wearing a white shirt with a black triangle symbolism, right? The American flag symbol here, it looks like it is a white shirt with a black symbol. That is not the shirt I was wearing. That shirt was actually black with a white symbol. We're seeing kind of the opposite, I believe, right? Maybe not. Kind of looking at this picture now. But what we do see is you see the look on my face. Okay. I'm standing there and I am looking directly into the security camera that is upstairs in my living room. Okay. And when you look at my eyes, they are completely blacked out with a white spot right in the middle. And that is the picture of me after demonic possession. Now, how did that possession take place? Tonight, I pulled the Four of Rings. Okay. So while I am standing there in my living room, I am doing my spiritual practices. I have the tarot cards in front of me. I've already taken the psilocybin, the THC, listened to the Gateway Experience tapes, got into the state of somnambulance. I'm listening to my hypnotic music. I am doing the Kundalini and the breath work, and I'm pulling the cards, and I'm going through the whole process. And while that happened, while I was doing that, while I was doing my ceremony and my ritual that night, here's what happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a small black shadow crawl into the kitchen. As I'm standing there, the kitchen is off to my right. In this picture, you see it's behind me, but it's off to my right. And I'm standing there in the front room, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a small black shadow, almost like the size of a cat or something. It didn't move like a cat. It was just a shadow moving, right? But I saw it move along the floor, kind of where the floor and the wall meet. It moved along there and it went into the kitchen. And folks, right now, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That night, I go, what the fuck? Again, I know I'm on mushrooms. I know I'm hallucinating. I know there's going to be visual hallucinations, but that one stuck out. And I go, holy fucking shit, man. Okay. Of course, I see this thing go into my kitchen. I can't just not follow it in there, right? There's no fear here in the mind war. I got to figure out what the fuck is going on. You see that I have my headphones on. I'm listening to the hypnotic music, my magical music. We're going to talk about that again in the future, but it's basically a 1.5 hour long video. I'll tell you where to find it in future episodes. It's rap music videos that are spliced together with old horror movie trailers in between. You listen to the music, it puts you in the state of hypnosis while you're doing your stare, while you're doing your actual magical practice. And then when the trailer for the horror movie starts, then you come out of it. You snap out of the somnambulance, you snap out of the state of hypnosis, and you can prepare for the next song. Whether it's writing in your journal you're going to have to do, or again, pulling the tarot card, or pricking your finger, whatever thing is you're going to be doing, you prepare during the trailer. So when I saw that black shadow, it was during one of the trailers, right? This horror movie, I was kind of listening to the trailer. As I walk into the kitchen, right? The curtain was closed. I have mostly curtains in the house here. I don't really have any doors to the rooms, right? I move the curtain and I step into the kitchen. The kitchen completely black. And as I do, as you see on the screen there, the song that I start listening to, it says fade to black. And then the song starts and I go, what the fuck? And so I'm walking through my kitchen in complete darkness, not really knowing. I mean, this was dark as dark. I know the kitchen and I was disoriented going, where am I? Why is it dark like the abyss in my kitchen right now? And so I walk over. The only little bit of light that was coming through was through the kitchen window that's above the sink. So I walked over to the sink. It was the night of a full moon. I turned and stood in front of the sink and looked out the window. And when I did, I locked eyes directly onto the moon and froze. Holy fucking shit, man. The music was playing and I just fucking froze. And I'm staring at the mirror and it was just like boom, 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 boom. The music, the kundalini, everything was flowing through my veins and I'm just frozen there going, what the fuck? And it was just like, it's just that feeling. Just, I don't know how else to explain it. Just power welling up in front of me. Coming from the moon, the light of the moon just right into my eyes. Just fucking like rage and just anger and everything just welled up inside. It was filling me with the new spirit. It was transforming me in a way. Transubstantiation. I was staying the same man who I am today, but I was becoming more. I was upgrading. I could feel it happening as I stood there, entranced by the moon. For minutes, I stood there in this feeling of just power welling through me, growing. And as soon as that song stopped, boom, I just snapped out of the hypnosis. I walked out of the kitchen and I walked directly over to that security camera and I looked it right in its little robotic eyes. And that's what you're seeing right there. You are seeing a picture of me just moments after demonic possession. Now, does that mean that some spirit took over my body and now animates me and makes me do things that I don't want to do? No, not at all. It was empowering. It was uplifting. It was a physical feeling of Kundalini times 10, strengthening myself. I felt testosterone flowing through my body. All of these things, this state of being that we get ourselves into through this work, revitalizes our natural physical body and helps us return to our strongest selves. That's what demonic possession meant for me. And this picture here shows it clearly. This is invocation. This is demonic possession, and this is what it means. This is how you do it. I didn't set out that night to be possessed by a demon. I didn't leave that night talking with someone else's voice and being unable to control myself. That's not what it is. It was empowerment. It was a small moment in time where I opened myself up to allowing these energies to flow into me. Very esoteric, very symbolic. But ultimately what was going on in the time at that very moment can scientifically be explained. Again, I was on mushrooms, on THC, in the state of somnambulance, listening to this hypnotic music that I knew emotionally was going to well up all sorts of natural chemicals that flow through our bodies that make us who we are. Strong, energetic, exciting. That's what the possession meant for me. Do not fear demonic possession. Do not fear demonic invocation. Because there is no fear here in the Mind War. I appreciate you being here. And as always, folks, remember, harden your hearts and open your minds, because this is Mind War.